Okay, so here is the prep right before bearings and crank. I got assembly lube ready, new bearings. These are all the mains. I got the thrust washers there, the girdle right there. It's all clean. I mean, it's kind of clean. And then also more new stuff is some nice big injectors. So yeah. Okay, here's a few minutes later. I got all the main bearings on the block in with all the assembly lube. I would turn it, but the thrust bearings just move out of the way, and I'm about to put the girdle on, so yep. It's nice and smooth. It's good. I don't want to move it too much, you know. Yeah, I'm excited. I still got to figure out torque specs for the girdle bolts. I guess they're kind of main bolts, but yeah. Okay, so I got the girdle on. The bolts are all just hand tight. I just thread them on so that, you know, and all the threads fell okay, like they all went on without any convincing, you know, so that's a good sign. The crank feels nice and smooth. Can't hear anything, obviously, and it's a little like difficult to spin, but I think that's just the resistance of the lubricant. At least I hope, you know. Google calls for 18 pounds and then 38. So that's what I'm doing, and then I have the sequence on my phone here, so yeah, here we go, torquing them down. Okay, so this girdle is all torqued down. Feels fine. Nothing crazy. It was alright. I just, you know, followed all the instructions. And I was trying to do the short block, or the bottom end tonight. I guess this isn't, this is the bottom end, but I'm trying to get the wrist pins out of these pistons. And apparently, well, you're supposed to like use a press to push them out, but my 12 mil fits beautifully, and I have a dead blow hammer, so I'm just gonna try and push them out using the hammer and the socket. So that's what I'm doing now. I don't know, hopefully this doesn't ruin it, but I'll check to see first. So that's what I'm doing now. And I feel like once, if I can get the wrist pins out, should be easy to do the rest, like to build the whole piston, you know, rod and everything. I'm gonna try and get them in tonight. So best case scenario, I finish the short block tonight. So yeah. Okay, so my plan worked decently. It wasn't easy. I had to use it against, I had to hit against my body just so I didn't, you know, break any of these surfaces. But it worked. I got the wrist pin out. So the next step is I'm gonna try and just get a piston in with the connecting rod with no rings, no piston rings. So I can just check clearances, make sure everything fits around the girdle, you know, everything hits right, and then I'll take it all apart. And put some rings in. Never done rings before, I've never done any of this before, but yeah, we'll see how well it goes. Hopefully I do it right first try. I'm gonna look it up, tutorial, because I don't know what to do, so yeah.
I forgot to film it, but I couldn't figure out how to get the bottom part of the rods off because I didn't have any leverage, so I had to create leverage. So yeah.
So, found the socket that goes on these, and I didn't know they would already be tight, and they were. So I had to make a little, also I brought the vise in from the garage, this wasn't here before, but I had to make a little connecting rod sandwich, you know, with all this crap just because I didn't want to hurt the connecting rod. And I was trying to do it with this, oh, I already loosened it, I don't know why. I tried to do it like, so the wrench was here, and then I'd use the mallet to hit it, and it like left this way, just, you know, to break them loose, and I wasn't doing it, so I put it on the gun and it didn't do it, and I was like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? So I took the vise off the table, I set it down on the ground on this spot, so it was upside, like flipped up, and then I had the socket like this, and I did it like this so I could hit the mallet, like strike it down, just so I have more leverage, and it worked, thank God. But I'm gonna have to do it with all the other ones, which sucks, but it worked. I was worried I wasn't even gonna be able to get them off, but I did, so thank God, yep. So, gotta test fit them now. Okay, so I am currently installing the wrist pin, like retainers. I thought they were gonna be snap rings, but they're these world-renowned one of one called spiral locks, and they are just terrible, at least for the first time to deal with. I got it. I'm surprised that I got it, but I finally figured out a way that works. I'm using 2 screwdrivers. I watched a YouTube video and the guy made it look just so easy, and well, I did it.
So here's where it all goes downhill. I was very confident putting the pins back in the same way I got them out with the socket and the hammer. Um, it didn't work. So you'll see, but like it was a total complete failure. And I don't know what I'm going to put for the title yet as I'm making this, but yeah.
Okay, so here's the next day. I've assembled one piston, and I took a day just to, you know, grieve on my terrible mistakes. First of which being, so I remember I was pounding on it with the socket to get the wrist pin through because they're press fit, which there's a good chance I did it sideways, which doesn't look like it, but I bet you there's a good chance it went in sideways, which is amazing. And of course, I'm using my vise to hit it, and I had paper towels and paper. You guys saw it. Well, I missed once and twice at least. So this piston's garbage, and it's assembled, and there's no movement. There's zero movement. So that's a great sign. So I guess I'll just look for. I'm gonna take out the wrist pin and see what I did. Hopefully it went in sideways. And I can just like, oh, that's why. And it's not like, oh, they sent me the wrong stuff. I hope it was my fault. You know, as sad as that is to say. Yep.
So I took out the wrist pin to see if it had been put in at like sideways. Now I know that wasn't the problem, but I explain that later on. And yeah, the wrist pin didn't look bad. I mean, there were some scratches on it, like not like anything that could catch your fingernail, just visual in the metal. But I think that was when I put it in with the hammer. But I explain later on why it went wrong.
Okay, so here's 2 days later, I'd say. I got my intake valves finally, so I'm gonna lap those right now, and I might do the springs if I have time. Okay, so I figured I'd show in the middle of lapping these. Honestly, I can't tell if it's focused right here. Maybe it'll focus on my finger. Not really. Okay, anyways. The one on the left is one that I just lapped, and the one on the right is one that I haven't. And you can see the major difference there. Just the material I'm taking off, which obviously barely any, but it just takes off like I mean, I guess it's not really a glaze, but I'd call it a glaze, like just the crap that's been solidified onto that valve seat. So, yeah.
So I had lapped all the valves, finished lapping all the rest of the intake valves, and um, I was gonna clean. Well, I cleaned all the ports for the intake and exhaust valves, and then I covered them up, and I filmed it, but the video was too long, and I couldn't import it, and I probably could cut it to where it goes in, but I didn't. So yeah, this is what I have. But I did those things that I said. I promise.
Okay, so here's post cleaning. They've all been taken out. They all got like no movement, which makes me feel really good. Before they were like grinding a little bit, just and they had a little bit of movement because there was rocks in there, but there's nothing. And apparently there's no tape in my house. There's zero tape. Well, I got Scotch tape, um, and another kind of tape that I forget the name of, but it wouldn't work. So I get to do the janky paper towel in the port trick, which I don't like. I think it looks terrible. The intake ones look worse because they're just bigger ports, so I couldn't fit paper towels in there very well, but it'll stop like 95%. I guess I could just get a bigger paper towel, but I didn't really feel like it. I got tons, but anyways, now I can leave the head like this because I'm done with the bottom of it, so it feels good. I'm gonna do the springs now. I'm gonna see how well this spring compressor works. Hopefully it fits on those springs. I kind of tried it once and it didn't work, but now I'm gonna like really try it. So yeah, see how that goes. Okay, so um, this spring compressor definitely does not work with my little springs. Like I would show you, I'm not going to. But it doesn't. The springs are too small. The two big, the two, the two longer arms that are supposed to grab it, like at the bottom to pull it up and compress it, they're too wide. Just the way they are. Like only one of them will grab it, and then it'll just go way like bing, like way to the way like curved. And obviously that won't work because it has to be straight. But like you can tell, like if the springs were bigger, it'd just sink right down there. But maybe, well, I guess maybe with the spring right there, it wouldn't do so good. But I don't know. It doesn't work. But my dad says he has one that works by, I can just have the cam in there, and then his, like, you can just press off, like, push down on the cam to pull the spring down and put the retainers in. So I'll try that out tomorrow. But I got the valves seated. Good. Well, I guess they're not seated because they're not springed, but they're done. The springs or the valves are good to go.
Thanks for watching part two. Uh, it's like literally like a week of stuff just that I filmed throughout the whole week. Um, Relatively productive week. I thought I'd get the short block done. Obviously, that's not happening. But more stuff, new stuff. I got the actual like wrist pin tool on the way, so I'll be able to do it correctly for the next set that I buy. Um, I'm gonna buy a different set just because I don't really trust the one that I bought the first time. I know I did it wrong and it was totally my fault, but I'd rather just be certain that it's gonna work. Um, so yeah, part two done. More to come.